Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MyneNetwork. My name is Degeki, and I am joined here by Keybomb, Airy, Fargocroft, and Scott Linehell as we explore SkySaga.
Welcome, Trish.
Thank you.
So this is Trish. Trish is a community manager at Radiant Worlds. Can you tell something about yourself and what you think SkySaga is?
Yeah, so hello, I'm the community manager here at Radiant Worlds. So obviously I work on SkySaga. And essentially, a lot of what I do is, talking to the players and getting a lot of the feedback, things that they like about the game. We're currently in alpha, so my job is really, really important in the sense that I make sure that people are really kind of resonating with the same vision that we have with our developers. So I have to go back to the developers and say, the community is saying this, here's the sentiment about this and such and that, and then the developers come back to me and say, hey, we're working on this, or this is the thing we're doing in the future. So I'm kind of like the middleman sometimes between the developers and the players, and I kind of make sure that everyone's really happy. Or if something hits the fan and there's fires going out, the person who takes out those fires. And essentially what SkySaga is, it is a voxel game, as you probably noticed by now. But what we would like to do is, it's really, really difficult sometimes to play voxel games online and with players, and we really wanted to kind of build a game where the community is actually really important, and you're not just kind of working on something by yourself and you're like, oh, you know what, I wish my friends could come see this, or you have to resort to things like social media to show off like what your home island looks like. So we kind of wanted to incorporate both the creative aspects of certain voxel games and also the kind of community games that you get from playing like MMO type of games, and we kind of blend it into one. So you get SkySaga, like you get this home island where you're at home building something really, really epic, but then you go on these adventures with your friends, like we are right now. And we have a very social aspect, a very kind of cooperative aspect too, so we don't get that kind of toxicity of competition as well. You kind of get this natural community going of people helping each other and trying to get the best loot, and it's been really interesting. This is probably the most positive community I've worked for so far, and I think that's a very good vision of what we're trying to achieve, is people just having fun playing games together. Like, just keep it simple and play games together. That's all we really want. So yeah, that's kind of a short synopsis of what SkySaga is.
Oh wow, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we
really, it's actually quite long.
Yeah, we really are happy that you join us on this adventure, and we really want to welcome you in this video with our group. So let's go into this adventure. We're doing the Emberwolf Lair for you who hasn't played this game yet and who doesn't know what the Emberwolf Lair is. It's a big mountain which has a cave, and in that cave there are a few wolves, and the Emberwolf is the last boss of this adventure, I guess.
Yeah, very epic.
On to the adventure.
There's wolves, guys.
Don't worry, Ari. I got you. I got your back.
Thank you.
You have my axe.
You have my sword and my bow and my axe.
That's a lot.
I actually never bring my bow anymore since the last alpha.
Am I going the right way? I've never done this one.
I don't even have a bow. I turned my bow in for a quest. You
What's
guys took
this?
it, and I never got another bow. I got sad.
Oh, these are the mine critters.
Guy took my bow.
Oh,
Kill them.
If will you guys ever have like different classes per race? So you know how like there's rogue, warrior, or whatever. So it's sort of like it differentiates each race with like different classes as well too.
Probably. I'm not sure. So I don't know if you remember playing Alpha 1. We did have kind of this class feel based, but the one thing that we really don't want to have is people feeling like they need to play a single class. So I think the one thing that we tried to do with the factions is not necessarily have them kind of tied down to one specific area. So I don't think so. But I also see it kind of like doing questing a bit differently. So for example, if you are doing things like mining, you'll get certain experience points towards a certain faction, but you're not necessarily like, this is my faction, this is where I'll always be, and you know, you kind of have the freedom to do whatever you want. So I hope that kind of answers your question, because it depends on how our narrative is going. So we're currently actually working on a lot of our narration for over the next couple months, and it really depends on the kind of stance that we decide to take.
We are at Trish's place at the moment.
I didn't know you guys left.
Keep on still at his own place, but he'll join us fairly soon. But wow, you did some work.
Are these chests?
Yeah, they're chests.
I don't see these chests.
I've had a bit of help working on this.
I'm here.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
No, I wasn't gonna say this is completely me, but we've collectively we have worked really, really hard on this together. Because I haven't seen something kind of gothic, sort of dark and laboratory.
I didn't even know you could get these.
Yeah, it took a long time.
What kind of stones are these? I don't the black stone.
Oh man.
Yeah. So what I'm using is, I will show you. I'm using a bit of Abyssium. For this, I'm using Blindstone. This right here.
No, don't destroy it.
That's fine. This is Blindstone. Oops,
That's not right.
That's not right. There we go. That's Blindstone. So everything here is Blindstone, and this is actually Blindstone as well. This is the green stuff, obviously.
All these pillars are cool.
Yeah. I put a lot of time into.
You said you're not good at building.
No. I like I said, this was a collective work, like with someone else. It's with Boomkin in game.
Whoa, what is this?
Oh, Boomkin. Yeah, I've heard
this
about
I
him.
created. I kind of wanted to make it like really, really gothic and kind of. We're not done yet, but it has this really, really amazing feel. Once it turns nighttime, honestly, you guys should check out the outside. It has this kind of like sinister, like a villain lives here. And
wow.
It's,
man, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's actually, I had this kind of idea, like, I don't know, I love horror films and I love gothic things, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna work. And actually upstairs is our sacrificial area. So if you guys would like to join me up there.
Wow.
It's so lovely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
Please
it's
don't
a
pick me.
sacrificial chamber.
I don't want to be sacrificed. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Don't worry, you guys are safe
Okay,
for
cool.
now.
For now.
For now.
For now.
So yeah, this is the... We're not done yet though. There's quite a lot of props and like a lot of things. The windows take me forever to do.
This is so awesome.
Yeah. I'm really proud. I think this is like one of the best things I've ever created in a game. And yeah, it's been a really good teamwork. So Boomkin and I like worked really, really hard on this, and he's always bothering me to come play and build it.
Who helped you?
Boomkin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's a player in game, and I don't know, I kind of like expressed the idea of like building something, and he's been kind of trying to get me to build something since Alpha 1, and I'm like, no man, I don't like it, I'm just a miner, I'm a gatherer, like, leave me alone. And he's like, okay, like let's build something, and I'm like, oh, fine, okay. I had no excuse, there was a data wipe to happen, I had absolutely no excuse. I was like, okay, fine, let's do something. So I was like,
How
okay,
long did this take?
This is not even close to done, so this is about 3 weeks time.
Whoa.
Whoa, that lags my game a lot.
But yeah, this has taken about 3 weeks to do.
Whoa, don't close the door in my face. My game almost crashed.
Oh really? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Those
that's
big
okay.
doors are so awesome.
Oh, but wow.
I like the smoke effect, like over the glass. It's so cool, dude.
Yeah, it took me a
Yes.
really long time because originally I had lights behind there because I wanted to kind of give it a glowing effect, but the lights don't actually shine through the windows, so I had to kind of go for the smoke instead. But I think they worked out really well, actually.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
It took me
Wow.
a long time to do the interior design, and I'm not even remotely done yet. So.
Yeah, let's not go back to my house. Let's just do the adventure from here.
No, no.
Wait,
Okay.
where's the portal actually? I didn't see it.
Below. It's below here.
Oh, it's below here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, it's not possible to move the portal, right?
it isn't. No, not
Oh,
yet.
okay.
We're hoping to get it to move, but it isn't that simple as just moving it like everything else because it is connected to so much other code. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's a great part of this game as well. It's so easy to get inspired by what everybody else builds, and especially with the community really wanting to be friends with each other. I have so much people I don't know who invite me, and when I go to their islands, they have such good builds
same
which
here, like I
inspire
said.
me to
Yeah.
build on my own.
Today was the first time I hopped on in like 2 weeks, and then I got like what, 5 requests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really like every time I go on, there's always new people adding me, and I'm like, I don't even know how you knew me, but okay, like, and I just love it because it's.
Well,
I can
how
just
did
go
they
to
not know
people-
you? You're Trish.
Well, no, I don't know. I just think like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I don't know.
If
It's
people
fun.
don't know you, you're doing a bad job.
Well, oh well. True. Okay, come outside. Come outside. I want to show you guys how the outside looks real quick before we go into an adventure.
Okay.
Because
Alright.
this took me a super long time. Like, this is unbelievable because it gets so dark at night. The lighting was so hard to do, and trying to get the windows to pop out was really hard. So I'm like, yeah, I think this is pretty cool.
Dude, I love this like
Wow.
beam coming down from the ground.
Yeah, right? That was the one way we could get the windows to pop up, and I had to actually put those lanterns on top of the windows to kind of make it known. Because at first you couldn't see the windows at all, so it just was complete pitch dark.
I like the
Yeah, I wanna take a screenshot
the
of
lack
this.
of lights at the entrance, but it's a small amount, but it does what it needs to do.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that this building needs are Tesla coils or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Frankenstein.
I'm working on it. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, 'cause I don't want it to be too light, but I also didn't want it to be too dark, and that's actually really hard because the lighting right now is either really light or really dark. So it's kind of this probably took me the longest time to do, is getting the lighting perfect and getting
Wow.
everything exactly creepy.
Yeah, nice.
Well, it looks awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm really proud of this, and I feel like you guys don't have to be nice. If you think this is absolutely awful, tell me, because
Nah,
I'd rather
you
work
should
on
No.
it.
be proud.
I like the god
No.
sound.
But
It's a whole it's yeah, when you get in that phase in a game where you use the gear and the stuff you find in other ways than that they're meant for, that's really cool for
Yeah.
people to see, because we can learn from this and for our own. And I really like the idea of the smoke coming up the stairs and everything, and the feel of what they have with swamp houses, and really those haunted mansions that you have.
Yeah.
A kind of mist coming up, or smoke coming up your from the ground. So that's very cool. Welcome back, everybody, and we're in the snowy adventure. What's kind of this? The mountain adventure, yes. And which one did you put in, Key?
I put in the Tempest.
Oh yeah, the Tempest
Oh,
Hold.
bear!
Yeah.
There it lies. Do you guys have the food to get you warm?
Nope, I have
Yep.
the food to get you cold.
Well,
Good pumpkin. Wait,
if you want pumpkins, I can give it to you.
I think the cactus also works.
Oh,
But
Does
if-
the
Okay.
blazer
No,
work?
the brazier. So if you stand near my
Alright.
brazier, then you get warm.
Oh wow! Today I learned.
Today
Yeah.
I learned how to
Inside
say
of it.
Brazil.
This is an It isn't always going
I
to be
didn't
like
even know that's
this.
how you pronounce it.
Can you tell us how you became a part of Radiant Worlds and the SkySaga team?
Yeah, I've been in the industry for a few years now. So, I actually worked previously at another company where my contract ended. So I was like, yeah, I want to go back into community. I wasn't doing community previously. I was a assistant product manager, which is as fun as it sounds, essentially. And I was like, I really miss being in community. I really want to go back and be a part of an MMO type of experience. So I saw that Radiant Worlds was looking for a community manager, and basically I applied, and they liked what I had to see. I liked what they had to, show me, and I was like, you know what, this would be a really good fit, and here I am. So yeah, basically I've been in the industry for quite a while now. So yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, I'm here. Hold on, let me restart everything.
Welcome back, Yvonne. Oh, but wow, that's pretty lucky. But because it's quite hard to get into the entertainment industry to get a job at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. Well, I can tell you a little bit about how I got there. If that helps at all. It's not easy. It is a lot of work. I knew that I've always wanted to work in video games since I was really, really young. So, back when I was, maybe 16, it wasn't really a type of career. It wasn't like, yeah, I can work in games. Like, nowadays I feel like it's actually a lot easier because there are courses you can take up for things like social media, which is crazy. You can take up courses for, game design. You can take up courses for, there's so many specific games courses. But when I was starting out, it was kind of like, it was a lot of work. I did a lot of internships. I did a lot of game jams. I went to every event possible. I kind of really just wanted to make sure that I understood how game development worked, and I even moved countries. Like I originally lived in Canada, and getting an entry-level position in the games industry in Canada at the moment is very, very difficult. We have other major titles there, but we don't have that kind of entry-level junior role. So I actually moved countries all the way to England, where I live now, and I was like, I'm going to try to make it work here. But I do feel like now it's a lot easier. You have to know what you want to do. I think that's one of the hardest things, because working in game dev myself, I'm like, ooh, I miss programming, or I'd love to do AI, but it doesn't really work like that. You have to know exactly what you want, and you have to be ready to work for it. And because there is always going to be competition. There's always going to be someone who can do something, and you just have to have something unique and just show that you're really willing to put yourself out there. I think as well is really important, because I did a lot of game jams. I really made sure.
Game jams are so fun.
Exactly, and actually there are huge assets to have, because you really understand sort of the things that make games break and what you can do to make them work, because you have that kind of time crunch, and you're like the end product that comes out of that, you're like, wow, we actually did this in like 24 hours. This is insane. And it is actually a lot of how game development works. It's not always as intense, but you do understand the process. So I think you can't just go into the games industry and just because you play games. I think one of the main assets is knowing how games are made, doing mods, understanding like, how even visuals are created for games and assets and marketing assets. Obviously marketing is a huge role that plays in the entertainment industry now. So it's interesting. There are very many classes you can take, but to be honest with you, I would say like as long as you're passionate and willing to take that time to just learn how things are created, I would personally say make a game yourself, no matter what you want to do. Like I'm in communications right now, but I've done game jams where I've made portfolio of games myself, because it shows that you are willing to have that dedication, that discipline of game dev, but also that you know how everything works and why teamwork is so important, why audio is so important, why visuals are so important, why programming is so important. You have that kind of respect already for the people that you're going to be working with. So I think no matter what you want to do, as long as you want to work in the games industry, definitely do games jams and make some games, do some mods, do kind of sound effects, things like that, and work with people. And I think that's really how I ended up getting in the industry, is having that type of portfolio.
Yeah, I think that applies for a lot of different sectors in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Same works for music and theater. It's all the same. It's mostly, like you say, the understanding of the other parties and the dedication that you have that brings you where you need to be.
Yeah.
If I say
exactly.
it correctly like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And it makes sense, but I think it's not as common knowledge. Like, a lot of people go to classes, and I think that's really great that we have these kind of classes available, but it's not enough just to go to school and then expect something out of that, especially in a really competitive industry. But, once you're, I would say, like to say, like, once you're in, you're kind of in, you're part of the fold, because you're part of the madness, so to speak, but also, like,
Yeah.
creative. You're known as being a creative person. So I think the hardest part is getting in. Like, I worked 3 jobs when I was younger while I was going to university. So it's not easy. I'm not saying you have to do what I did, because I was just completely crazy with that. But I really wanted to do this, and it was such a long shot for me. And it wasn't just luck. I really put the dedication and work into it. So, it's probably not as hard as I'm making it sound, if that helps as well.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody
Also, a
wants to
good
try
thing
out
is,
anymore.
A good thing is just like know people and just network. Like just get yourself out there.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of weird, because I hate to say go out there and network, because people always think of something really sleazy, like going, going to these weird like meet and greet kind of things. Or sometimes I get messages saying like, oh yeah, hey, I'm here to network, and it's just like, no, I want people to have a genuine interest in what we're doing, and I think that's the difference, is people who are actually interested in the industry and not just fanboying over the game that you're going to work on and things like that. There is a slight difference, but I do think that that's why I went to so many events, is I wanted to know the people who worked on games, and also what inspired them to make games. So I wasn't necessarily like, hey, can you get me a job at your company? I was like, why are you in the industry? Like, what
yeah,
drives
of course.
you?
Like
So
get to know people and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's actually a really handy skill to have, is that soft people skills, like getting to know people and being interested in what they do. Because once you start, I mean, look at me, I'm already off the rails talking about games. So, get to talk to anyone in the industry. They just love to talk about games and what they do. So I think that's the great way to network, is just ask them what they like about their jobs and, how they got there. And, it'll be like me, where you can't get them to stop talking. So.
Trish, I feel like we're gonna be like really good friends. It's so awesome, like hearing your stories and stuff in the game industry.
Yeah,
especially for me, because I could like relate to a lot of the things you're saying as well too.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, we're human at the end of the day, and we're just people who really love making games, and I think that's what's really important. And I think you can see a lot of that in SkySaga, and a lot of the developers too. Like, they put a lot of time when they can to speak to the community and check out the home islands when they can, and they're always looking at what the community is interested in, and they're, if anything, relieved about the feedback that they get, because we are in a very good position to accept that feedback and then kind of create a better game that way. So I think it really, I think the passion that we have for the industry, and also the games, even our co-founders, they grew up making games, so they're really like the industry veterans, so to speak. And I think the passion has never died, thankfully, with them, and they're just even more passionate, if anything. So it's been interesting. It's been a really interesting ride, and I think it really shows in the way that we're really pushing this game as much as we can. Yeah.
Awesome. So how big is your team?
So at the moment we are about 60 people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I think we're medium scale. I would say about medium scale.
Man, that's a pretty good scale.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting all that. Like honestly, I thought it was a smaller team, so that's why I'm like, oh man, like they must be putting in so much work. But like knowing so many people are working on it, it's like, man, even more work is being put in.
Yeah, it's interesting, because the teams we work on different areas. So, but yeah, we have about 60 people in the office.
Wow.
Currently, yeah. So it's quite cool. I didn't realize it would be so big as well, but I think there are so many like aspects that go into this game, especially because it's online all of the time. That usually alone takes more manpower than if we were able to just kind of push the game out, if you know what I mean. because we can't just
Holy
develop
crap.
it and then just push it out live and be like, okay, it's done now, we're out, we're moving on to the next project. This is constantly live, so that alone takes probably double the manpower. What are some of the things that you guys want to see out of SkySaga from us?
That was actually a question I had for you. I want
Yeah.
to see pets. I want to have a pet fox or a pet wolf.
Yeah, I was
Well-
thinking similar, but with mounts instead. So I could
Oh.
ride a fox.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, foxes are tiny,
What?
man. You'll just crush
No,
it.
no, no,
That's
no, no.
terrible.
It'll
I
be-
would
no, no, it'll be an
kind of
island.
like the flying mount for the flying or the floating islands, because there are
Yeah.
sometimes trashes on there, and it's too much work to use blocks.
I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's an interesting point because I think we like the amount of pets and mounts requests that we get is insane, and I think pets
I
is
know.
something one of those things that even internally we're like, when are we getting pets? Like seriously, can we get pets in? And that's not a confirmed feature. That's not even like anywhere near like alpha stages. But it is something that we'd love to do. But the mounts, I actually personally, on a personal like from a community level, I don't know if that would work too well with the game mechanics because the adventures themselves are quite contained. But I would love to see things like flying mounts on your home island because I think
that's
that would
what
be
I
a
was- yeah.
different perspective than just having a fly around camera. Because normally you have a fly around camera where you can kind of do your own home island, you kind of create things and you're like in this god mode. But I actually like the idea of having a flying mount because you're still immersed with your home island, you're still immersed with the game. And it'd be really sick to have like this dragon mount or like this phoenix mount. And
Oh, watch
Oh.
out behind you!
oh my gosh! But I think mounts we're a bit more like where would that fit at the moment, and I think we're not too sure about the mounts idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're also working on the narrative, so that might go hand in hand with the narrative, might not. I heard a little snippets about how it's going to be, and I'm like, okay, I can see little areas of where we're going to do gameplay with that, but. I think with the mounts in general, I probably wouldn't want to see them on an adventure, but it'd be really cool to like have them on your home island, and flying mounts would be dope.
I
Even
have
for like
I
building
have
purposes.
I have
Sorry.
something that the whole I love the idea that you can go through adventures with your friends, and that's something that we've really been exploiting, especially Scott and me together, and with Keybon and Scott, Ari with us, but we haven't really seen the bigger group events like this. When we go through an adventure with a group like this, it's pretty easy to do, and it would be very cool to have a big group of people having a challenge in an adventure and really having to think about tactics and going through them, so that we can maybe that's very specific for us because we're a YouTube group that likes to do this as a group, but just being able to do groups events in adventures, that's something that I really would like to see.
Yeah, I think we are definitely exploring. The social hub is the beginning of where we'd like the social aspects of the game to come out, and I think in the future we'd like to have something like having your own faction and maybe a faction home island, and then you go on adventures together. But the one thing we don't want to do is also create that kind of potential faction guild bubble where you just talk to yourself. So it is kind of really a hard challenge because we do understand that you want to go out and adventure with your friends, but we also want to encourage you meeting new players. So I think that's the reason why we haven't pushed something out like that yet, because we want to get that balance really right. We don't want to force people to play with other new players, and we also want people to have an idea of going out to adventures and being with their friends and things like that. But that is something that we would definitely like to do, is having more group adventures. Like even doing like group dungeons would be really cool.
And also when you go to an adventure and you see different people, you would be happy because you need them to work together.
Exactly.
And instead of sometimes I have people who close off the boss's room so that I don't know where it is, or they think I don't know where it is, or people who take away stuff that the boss drops. I don't really mind because it's an alpha and it's a community thing, and things like that happen, and the gameplay together is the important thing. But I can understand that it could be annoying in the future, and it would be to me it would feel like a good idea to stimulate working together instead of against each other, in these situations.
Well, you're always going to get people who try to troll you, and I think
Yeah.
they're interesting characters to kind of deal with. So I think it's really going to be an interesting challenge for us to kind of, deal with that type of community, and also, make them know that, that isn't cool, but, unless you're being funny and things like that. But I think that had a point, and now I forgot. Sorry. Oh, actually, I was going to say, I think it'd be really interesting, and we've talked about this a little bit internally, and I think one of the things that we think would be really awesome and a way to kind of meet new players is if one of the one of the faction leaders were like, hey, you know what, we really need more supplies of this. We're trying to create this airship. We want to go check out new areas. And it's up to the players to then collect those things and then come back to the social hub and, give them in and things like that. So different guilds will be working together to get more of that supplies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
At the end of that event, that airship that they were trying to build, that whole airship would then be made. And that would actually show a community effort, but also encourages group play because, they may be different quests. You may have to actually go through a dungeon where you can't play alone. So I think that's a really good way of getting new players to play with each other, but also kind of, having that old kind of group together. So we're kind of working on it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's having a world event would be really awesome. And I think the social hub, like I said previously, is actually going to be a lot more social. We'd like it to be social, where people are there to hang out and trade or have a chat and just kind of kick each other off the island and go to PvP and things like that. So it's interesting. It's an interesting balance, I think, that we're really happy to deal with, if you know what I mean, because it's very, very cool to have to deal with different types of player behaviors and how they're going to react to certain things. That's always interested me. So,
Question?
I would say if you could pick one thing that you could improve on in SkySaga, what would it be? And it has to be one thing. It could be anything at all, but not necessarily adding something, just improving it.
Improving the battle axe. Because I really like how it looks, but it's so slow and not rewarding on the damage.
Okay.
But will there be a more creative aspect where it'll be easier to build things? Sort of a creative world in I guess how Minecraft does it.
I don't know, because then if people got that, there would be no point in doing the adventures. So it has to make sense in the overall scheme of things. I think we just want the game to flow very nicely within each other. So I don't see a specific creative sort of world happening. That's not to say that we wouldn't do something like that. Of course, if that's something that everybody wants, then we'd have to address that appropriately. But we also don't want to lose the vision of having the adventures there, because if you have that creative freedom and you're kind of in that god mode, then there really is no point in you ever leaving the home island. And we want people to leave the home island and be social. But I think we would definitely make it easier to create things on your home island. Obviously, we are aware that recipes are some of them are a bit more difficult to pick up. Some of the materials are a little bit harder to find. So I think kind of getting that balance of having the actual adventures a bit more rewarding, and also knowing where to go. So for example, if you're going to a snow adventure, you're going to get specific materials. So I think kind of expanding on the encyclopedia and where you can get these things would be easier. But I don't see us having an actual god mode. I just don't think that would fit with what we're trying to achieve with SkySaga. We do want it to be different to other voxel games as well.
Yeah, of course. No, I was just curious, and plus Fargo can't really use his mic right now, so that was the only question I could think of, and I know Fargo's I have a question.
No, that's fine.
Well, for me personally, I think that also that's a little bit like what Key's earlier question was with the skills and clauses. For me, it would be cool if you could learn skills as you go. And for me personally, I would love a skill in which I could be more stealthy.
Okay.
So that you can it would enhance the way in which you could approach a dungeon, I guess.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I like that.
And that's something I just have been thinking of for a while now, because most of the time you just rush through and hack and slash with either a two-hand or two swords, a sword and a torch, or a sword and a shield. But something more stealthy or like a mage or something would enhance an experience like that.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Fargo also said the water combat / tool mechanic. Yeah, the water combat. Yeah, I know we have to definitely the water, LOL. But I do also like the idea of having a stealth kind of. I haven't really considered something like that, but I think it'd be pretty interesting to have like the kind of a stealthy sort of person. You know, the cats are I think, a really good representation of something that could be potentially stealthy. I mean, that's just personally speaking. I'm not speaking for anyone. But I think that's an interesting aspect. I haven't actually heard anyone in the community ask for something like that, so I think we'll have to take that into account.
Okay, Kevon, last question.
Oh, so I know you asked us what we would like to see, but I know you're part of like the dev team and whatnot. But what's something you want to like get put into the game?
Gosh.
Just so like everybody else could like know what you actually want.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just pick one thing, because I have like so many ideas myself, and I'm like, oh, this would be awesome if we could do this and that. I think like what I'd really like is to actually see. I think if I had to pick one thing that I'd like to see is definitely have an area for competitive play. I'm quite a competitive player myself. I love to play anything where there's a score behind it. That's probably why I like doing like really grindy things, is I like to be the best at, you know, everything except like things that I can actually be achieved. So I personally would like to see like, you know, leaderboards, having guilds versus guilds, weekly events, things like that. I would love to have sort of a really competitive tournament, you know, in SkySaga, and, you know, we're at this like, you know, team arena thing, and what I actually love about our game, I think we have a really good area of opportunity for having something quite unique in the multiplayer aspect. So for example, it doesn't need to be necessarily like 10 minutes long, but I think you have a group of like 10 people and you recreate your arena. So what I love is that you bring all the tools with you, you recreate it into this battleground of your own battleground. And just playing PvP myself, I've seen people like completely change up how PvP is played and coming up with these really awesome ideas of how they're going to infiltrate our base, or how we're going to, you know, stop the tunnels that are coming into our base. And I love that so much. I think that is an amazing creative way of how to do multiplayer, but also be quite competitive. And, you know, you'll obviously have the people who have the best, you know, gear and the best, you know, bows and things like that. But I think I would love to personally see a lot more of that. So I'm quite excited to see what we do with that in the future.
Oh wow,
That'd be pretty cool.
So yeah.
Well, I guess you have your first
You guys heard
competitors,
it here
because we would join as Team Minecraft then.
Well, good. I'll 1v1 all of you.
Wow. Give us a battleship and we'll destroy everybody.
The confidence is real.
I will let you guys know once PvP is open, and then I'll meet you in the battlefield.
Yeah, sure, that's cool.
The battlefield.
It was really interesting though, because I did used to stream the PvP sessions, and I implemented sort of like this inside joke of we should duel with dual torches. So like sometimes we'd have complete battles of like, you know, 20 people almost, like with just torches. And it was pretty funny because they do pretty much no damage, but they actually do quite a bit of damage in the PvP arena. So I think that's one way of like being really creative and just being like, okay, let's just have a bit of fun with this, and, you know, let's see who can be really good. Because like killing someone with a torch is not, you know, it is an actual feature. So I think that was one of my proudest moments, was killing people with torches.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was quite fun. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. I was just curious
no,
at like
that's
what you
fine.
wanted.
No, it's really hard because I have, like you guys, I have so many ideas, and like the developers themselves, they have so many ideas of how they'd love to see the game, but it's also like, having to be realistic and saying like, we can't make like everything in the game, obviously, but I think that's my personal love is competitive playing and PvP and things like that. So it's quite fun. I'm a bit trolly, so it's a nice way to kind of get a bit trolly with the community and just have a little bit of fun with them, and it's good fun. I like it.
Hey, it's all about having fun.
Yeah. Well, that's what video games are for, right? So makes sense. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we would like to thank you for joining us on this adventure. It has been a fun experience for all of us. I hope you liked it as well.
Yeah, I did. It was honestly, thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm really appreciative that you took the time to talk to me for almost 2 hours now and going on these adventures and listening to me babble on for ages. So I love playing with the community anytime. Every time I'm online, I'm always playing with the community. So yeah, feel free to hit me up whenever, really, because that's what I'm here for.
And I have one thing, and the guys don't know about this, but I wanted to tell you now that we know that the arenas are going to open very soon. Minecraft challenge, or Minecraft with a Y, that is, challenges Radiant Worlds for a fight in a PvP arena. So few of us against a few of you. I guess that will be a fun thing to do sometimes.
Okay. I think I know just the people to ask for that. So we'll be ready. We'll be ready with our arms.
Okay. Okay, so and we'd like to thank everybody for watching. This was our very first video with the Minecraft group, Minecraft with a Y, as always. I have been the Geki. I've been here with Keybon, Ari, Fargo, Scott, and not to forget, of course, Trish from Radiant Worlds. We hope to see you in the next video, and for now, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.